This month, displaced people from the war in Georgia began returning to their homes. Georgia's attack on South Ossetia this summer sparked a massive retaliation by Russia.
Now the families of that region are coping with the aftermath. Gary Lane reports from Georgia.
Here in Tbilisi, life is pretty much getting back to normal. As a matter of fact, there wasn't much damage from the Russian invasion at all. But not far from here, near the South Ossetian border, life will never be the same.
Tears well in the eyes of Georgian women upon returning to their village. Like many houses in the area that was occupied by the Russian army, it's unclear if their homes were destroyed by the fighting or by marauders. Locals say Russian troops looked the other way, while Ossetian mobs destroyed their homes.
We came back, and there is nothing here now. We can't even bring in the harvest.
Even with European Union peacekeepers in the area, they say militia are firing into their territory and crossing the border to terrorize at night.
Many Georgians are now coming back to their villages near the South Ossetian border, and it'll take quite a few years for them to rebuild. But some aren't coming back at all because there's nothing to come back to.
This kindergarten in Gori is housing more than 100 displaced Georgians. Here, blankets serve as walls. This couple lived in South Ossetia for more than 40 years. Now this small space is their home.
We weren't able to take anything with us. When we were told to leave, we left without going back to our house. We have only our clothes on our bags. We feel that even God has forgotten about us.
15-year-old Marita spends her days on the computer she won for earning good grades. It's a welcome distraction from the suffering she and her mother have endured.
I don't want to think about it or recollect all those things. I want to be back at my house with my friends, with my family. I want the same situation. We had everything. We didn't have to ask anyone for anything, and now we have to ask for everything.
The Christian relief agency World Vision is helping the victims at this center. It's also taking responsibility for feeding 25,000 displaced people in Tbilisi. On this day, the group is handing out bags of pasta, beans, and cooking oil.
I'm old and I'm a pensioner. If I didn't have this food, my wife and I wouldn't have anything.
One government official says non-government organizations have kept these victims from falling through the cracks.
The government didn't expect so many IDPs would come to Tbilisi and other cities, and it wasn't prepared. So the help of humanitarian groups was very important for the government because they weren't ready.
In Georgia, where the Orthodox faith is predominant, International Orthodox Christian Charities is doing its part to help the victims. Relying on churches and volunteers from the Georgian Orthodox Church, it's distributing aid, will fix homes, and provide job training. In the first days of the fighting, IOCC sent aid to churches in the war zone.
So we really try to send them food, non-food items, or whatever the request would be coming from the local priests who never left the area, who are staying there with the population to support them.
One Orthodox leader nearly paid for his dedication with his life. Bishop Isaiah of Nicosia was in this building when a Russian plane attacked.
Just after the dinner, he and the monks were starting getting for the prayers in the monastery, and all of a sudden they heard a terrible voice, and the bomb hit directly the residence when he and other priests were staying, and although this residence was destroyed, nothing happened to any of them, and they all survived. And also the church also was not damaged.
Miracles come in all shapes and sizes. This mother was pregnant with little Maria when she fled her village on foot. She was born just 3 weeks ago in the Bethel Center, a nursing home run by the Evangelical Baptist Church of Georgia. The Baptists are a tiny group in this country, but its members are committed to serving their people in this time of need.
The main goal of church is not to preach, but to serve. And that's the main reason why we took part. It doesn't matter whether we are 5,000 or 50,000 or 5 million. You can help. Church is a prophet in the society. And prophet does not mean to say what's going to happen in the future, but to say what is right to do, to show what Christ would do. So first of all, if Christ would see the homeless people, if Christ would see the people who have lost their beloved ones, he would be there to help them, to wipe their tears, and that's what we are trying to do.
Of course, the Georgian government is taking the lead in this recovery effort. They've promised a new home to every family that has lost one. As a matter of fact, the construction has already begun. I'm Gary Lane, CBN News, Tbilisi, Georgia.